My mother-in-law doesn't like the fact that her son is in polygyny, and then she didn't like the fact that he was in monogamy. These people didn't want us to get married. Oh, you're too young, or so your wild oats. My oats gonna stay intact, and they're not gonna be wild. They're gonna be really tame around these parts. You all go into the world and sow your wild oats. Polygyny is seen as more important than monogamy. It really, see, the thing is, we have to examine what we say to ourselves about the meaning that we give different terms and terminologies and lifestyles. Monogamy, even though we were in monogamy for 15 years before Coach Nazir decided he was going to practice polygyny. Was he a believer in monogamy and polygyny during that time? Yes. Were we in monogamy? Yes. Did he decide to practice polygyny after that? Yes. We are still in monogamy. We're monogamously, again, married to one another. So I'm not physical with my co-wife. We're not in love. We have love for each other as sisters in Islam and as family. Um, so I don't get in their marriage. They don't, he doesn't, none of the melting into the marriages. Okay. So monogamy is important as well. Polygyny is important too. So if you feel as though, excuse me, guys, if you feel as though monogamy is less than polygyny, then that is how you will proceed. They're both very important. They're both vital. They're not, one doesn't diminish the other one. They don't. Just as one wife, my co-wife doesn't diminish me because she married Coach Nazir. I don't diminish her because I'm married to him before her. We don't. We don't. So understanding that might not happen right away if it ever does. But just know that monogamy is not diminished in any way. We're pro morals here on OPR. We speak about, train about, discuss, counsel, coach about pro morals. Everybody that coaches and counsels with us, they can be single. We've had single clients. We've had people that are in monogamy. We've had people that are in polygyny, people that are thinking about polygyny, people that polygyny didn't work for them and they're back in monogamy. So that we've trained different people and coached and counseled different people. We're not therapists. However, this is not just a space for people in monogamy or just polygyny. So that, it just depends. I do believe men are naturally polygynous. That's a good question. All of them, do they all act upon it? No. But I don't think it's abnormal for a man to want polygyny at all. I just don't. Um, I know that my the men that I am directly related to, my grandfather, my father, my uncles, my cousins, male cousins, all of them, they had a lot of love in their hearts for more than one woman. And I thought to myself as a child, why? What is and when you become a teenager, you go, what is wrong with them? Why are they feral? Why are they running around here and having all these girlfriends and baby mamas and stuff going on? And it was just so chaotic. And that's what kind of put my a bad taste in my mouth for men and women and having multiple women in your life, because you all were doing this thing wrong. That did just were. They just were. And anybody in my extended family will say just the same. I sit on the side of a man that practices polygyny. We look happy. How dare we? So society will look down on you with something that you might not understand. Think about society record on society and making good decisions when it comes to relationships. What is the track record? So I tend to understand who I'm dealing with. So I said, I don't want to leave it up to society to dictate to me how worthy am I to be married or stay married to a man that practices polygyny, or society's desire to tell me that I don't get to love myself because my husband practices polygyny. Oh no, I'm going to love me. And I'm going to love my husband. I'm going to love my family. And I'm going to love my co-wife, my bonus babies, and whoever doesn't like it, they just don't like it. That's a they thing. That's not a me thing. They have to live with that. Because if you wait for society to be accepting of you in polygyny and your husband practicing polygyny, you will be miserable, honey, for the rest of your life. Because society is not going to get it together anytime soon. They're not. And our mother-in-laws, my mother-in-law doesn't like the fact that her son is in polygyny, and then she didn't like the fact that he was in monogamy. These people didn't want us to get married. Oh, you're too young, or so you're wild oats. My oats gonna stay intact, and they're not gonna be wild. They're gonna be really tame around these parts. You all go into the world and sow your wild oats. You know, I got oats, but they ain't wild. But they wanted it to be because that's how it should be. You're young. You should experiment. Experiment with what?
Assalamu alaikum. Peace. I'm Coach Fatimah, one of the co-founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships. And I'm here to talk to you about the Nourishing Fulfillment Counseling Program. What I do is help women from all walks of life obtain information in the areas of relationship wellness, emotional resilience, self-confidence, and inner discovery for best results for their future success. Growth is about implementation for best practices, for best results for your future. So the Nourishing Fulfillment Counseling Program is here for you to help you kind of weed through some of those negative thoughts of self-limiting beliefs so that you can move forward and attain your goals so that you live a truly fulfilling life. So if you want to join me for my Nourishing Fulfillment Counseling Program, be sure that you visit me at CoachFatimah.com for details and start your Nourishing Fulfillment Counseling session today. I'll see you and I look forward to working with you. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
There's so many mutations and things going on now. I mean, to just promote that kind of behavior, I can't look to those people to give me solid, sound judgment, or advice. So I expect the absolute worst when somebody is showing me their worst. So if you're showing me that in you, that says something about your character. That means I need to limit my time with you if all I'm getting met with is toxicity and judgment. And my aunt gave me some of the best advice ever. She's since passed on, but she loved Coach Nazir because that's her nephew through marriage. She met him when he was 7. And she said, let me tell you something real quick. This is some of the first advice I got. She said, always talk to people about him that love him, that love you all, that love your family. Don't talk to the people that don't love you. They'll make themselves known. You'll be able to tell they don't love you because every single time it can't do nothing right. It ain't right. You ain't right. He ain't right. Y'all all crazy. Who wants to sit in the midst of that? That's not something healthy for us. So my own grandmother could gaslight me until I caught on fire. But she didn't see it as gaslighting. She didn't see it, but she was married to a man for 32 years and gaslight lit her every day. So then it was like, well, you shouldn't get married right now. You're too young. You da 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 da. Everything must be perfect. Then maybe you get married. But I love you. I'm like, girl, I love you too, but I can't listen to this all the time. I can't. But I know she was trying to protect me. However, just some of that stuff was super harsh. Okay, how do you deal with a mother-in-law that may put you down the first wife just because her son married a second, especially if his wife lives with her mother-in-law? She can talk to her son, I had my mother-in-law ask me some questions about my husband. I said, have you called him? Have you talked to him? And then you get met with, well, no, I was kind of talking to you about it. Well, no, you're not talking to me about a decision he made. No, you're not. So they had their conversation, and it wasn't my business. Just like that question wasn't my business. That was designed for him. So, and I had to learn that. I had to sit up one day and go, why am I answering these questions that are not, I'm the third person. You ask him. And I've had to invite people. You have his number, right? Oh, yeah. Did you call him? You should call him. Well, no, I don't want to call him. I bet you don't. I bet, because when he get done roasting you to the ground about his business, careful, because we would want to leave with our feelings intact, but we would, people need to make sure that when they approach us about decisions that our husbands made, our feelings are considered. And if they're not, I would really strongly suggest that moms that take issue with their husbands marrying again need to have their hard conversation. That's not our business. And I loved saying it. That's not my business. You should talk to your son. You should talk to your nephew. You should talk to whoever, but not to me about it. That's what he wanted to do. You should have a conversation with him. And then they really did feel kind of dumb, because then they were like, why am I talking to her about this? I can't answer those questions for you. You have to ask him. And that makes sense. That just makes sense. That's just logical, because we're not the ones making that decision. So why are you asking me a question about a decision that I didn't even make? It's a very intimate decision. And you don't owe anybody your story. That doesn't mean we have to be disrespectful to our in-laws, but creating boundaries with them as well matters. My mother-in-law knows she can't come to me about her son. That doesn't work. That has not worked for her for 27 years of my marriage. She, we're Muslim. She didn't like Islam. And he's been very vocal about that. So I don't have to. I don't disrespect her. I don't call her out a name. I don't raise my voice. But she knows full well. She goes, well, I'm not going to talk to her about that, because it ain't going to go nowhere. Because what I'm going to tell you to do, you have his number. You can Google him. You can reach out to him. You can email him. You can whatever. But you can contact him quicker probably than you can contact me. It's important for I learned, and I train and I coach on this. The whole PR team does. I learned to not sign up for certain classes if it is going to disrupt the synergy of our family, or harm our family, our marriages in any way, shape, or form. Then there's a distance created. And if that distance isn't far enough, then there will be a bigger distance created. I've had to remove people from my life because they've said some very horrible things to me that they thought, well, we've been friends this long. I just say, no. Because if you can go that far, then it's on me to say, you don't get to go any further.